Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dean Rogers. Welcome back to the Dean Rogers Show. Today, we got a special guest, the brand doctor. Oh my God, we're in for a real treat. So, brand is a hot topic, something that everybody should be focused on, whether you're a Joe Schmo, nobody getting started, or you've got a very experienced business and nobody knows about you. It's so important. So I'm excited to have Henry Kaminsky here on the show. What's up, Henry?
What's going on? You nailed the last name too, man. Perfect.
Nailed it. Awesome. Cool, man. I'm stoked to have you because I just get super excited talking about brand because as I have leaned in on it, I'll be honest, I shied away from it at the beginning, right? You know, my story, we talked about it going from the NFL to basically starting from scratch. And a part of me kind of felt like I had a chip on my shoulder. I didn't really want to talk about the fact that I walked away from the game. Like I just kind of had a hole in my heart, right? I walked away from the game I loved. Like, I don't want to be running around with that flag. Like I need to create a new brand. I need to start over and just kind of put my head down and went to work and ignored that kind of stuff. But Henry, let's talk about brand. Why is brand so important?
Well, there's one thing that you said on my podcast that I'll never forget. And you said, because I asked you the same question, right? And you said when I started to invest in my brand, it opened up a tremendous amount of opportunity for me. Mm-hmm. You got a chance to sit at a table now with the players that you've always wanted to sit down with and play with.
Just by having a brand.
Just by having a brand and leaning into it and investing in it. And I think taking it back to the beginning to what exactly is a brand. And this is a definition that I found through my 15 years of being in the branding space that really rang my bell. And the definition went like this: branding is a promise of an experience, whatever that is, whatever you want it to be. You're the boss. Yeah. You're the ruler. You know, you're the rule creator. You're creating the rules for your brand. So what type of promise are you delivering and what kind of experience do you want them to have? And to be honest with you, Dean, there's no right or wrong answer. If you want to be the Walmart of real estate investing and be the low-cost option and affordable choice, then lean into that 1,000%. If you want to be more of the premium, upscale, higher end type of premium or brand, be that and be all into that. Look at Josh Altman. You know, you live under a rock in the real estate space if you don't know who Josh Altman is.
Yeah.
This guy leans a gazillion% in to the high-end luxury lifestyle and brand, right? So look how well he's done it too. And look what has reaped, you know, the amount of benefit that he has reaped from that, you know, and he plays the part really well.
Yeah.
You know,
he plays it up.
He loves it. You know, he loves it. And then there's other people out there that, you know, they don't want that high profile, so they'll go the other route. The problem that I see is people play the middle too much. And when you play the middle too much, people don't get an understanding of who you are, what you stand for. And that's another thing that brand is what you stand for. You know, so my family likes to bust my chops because I like expensive things. Right? It's just, I was brought up, I was brought up a very humble guy. My father raised me all by himself. He worked 4 freaking jobs, to keep food on the table. And for 33 years, he was a shop steward at UPS. but the guy hustled his ass off, and I really admire that. But we always had just enough, And then I have this very wealthy uncle who's running a multi-million-dollar construction business, who's like living lifestyles of the rich and famous. And I'm going up there on holidays and visiting him and seeing that whole lifestyle throw down. And I'm like, I want that.
Dude, you lived Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Pretty much. I pretty much lived that book, right? I pretty much lived that book. But let me back up a second. I don't want anybody that's listening for the first time or knowing me for the first time going, this guy's into material things and that's all that this guy cares about. No, it wasn't that. It was knowing that I could be doing more. There was more in my gas tank than I was using. But the problem that I was having was I didn't know how to use it. And that's what got me into a lot of trouble, believe it or not, because I was the epitome of let's throw as much flash as I can up on social media and see what sticks, right? And I'll never forget this. This is a great story. So I start running ads for the first time. We're probably going back 6 years. I start running ads and it's me hopping in and out of private jets. And I get a message from somebody who was targeted that said, who are you? You show up in my feed. I Googled you. Nothing comes up, but you're jumping in and out of these jets in these videos. So like, I don't understand who you are. Tell me who you are. And instead of fighting this guy or getting all butthurt over that, I said, there's some truth to this. There is a learning lesson here. So what that told me was I don't have enough evidence online right now for people to believe me. So I shit canned that entire campaign and I went back to the drawing board. I said, what do I need to do on social media to get people to believe me, understand me, relate to me, and trust me, right? And I realized that I haven't done enough to showcase that. So I went deep into showcasing my expertise and making sure that people understood that there was substance behind what I was putting out. It wasn't just all flash, but I had to learn the hard way. And thousands of dollars later, where people were like, I wish you came to us sooner with this because this is the value that you're looking for. This is the authenticity that we're looking for. And, listen, I'll go as personal as you want today. I grew up a very insecure guy.
Well, I think a lot of people that go to the flashy route usually are,
Yeah. I hid behind a lot of that stuff to get in the right circles and to make myself feel better and to validate.
Okay, this topic is so good. Okay, this topic is so good. We gotta peel this back. I'm getting excited thinking about it because there's going to be so many listeners that are right there, right now, right? And the question is, do you fake it till you make it? Do you go for the flashy stuff? Like, how do you attract the right people? How do you attract more opportunity if you're nobody yet, right? If you haven't proven, if you haven't done it. And I think everything you're saying right now is like so good because, oh man, I know, again, my own self having to recreate a new identity and not wanting to lean on football, right? The NFL. And I proved to myself that I'm somebody now in this new world, this new professional world where no one gives a crap how you do. It's pretty much you against you, right? There might be some people watching, cheering you on, some people watching you, cheering against you, right? There might be some of that going on, but nonetheless, it comes down to you. And so brand is so important to help you get new opportunities, right? We already talked about that, but let's really get into what does the brand doctor think? Because you lived and experienced maybe what you would say is not the right way to do it, right? And I've toyed around with that as well, like going years back. Like I'm not quite there yet, but like, do I pretend like I am? Like how do I show that I'm something or doing something, right?
Yeah.
So let's get into that, Henry, because I think people need to understand. And you said authenticity, right? Are you authentic and real? Are you flashy and fake? Like, what's the right way to go about this?
Well, superficial is the word, right? Like there's a lot of, and people see right through that, right? And I've seen that over the years too. You meet these people in person for the first time, and they're nothing like what they are on social media, right? There's a few exceptions. I'll give you an example. Met Tai Lopez for the first time, and people love to throw pitchforks at that guy.
They do.
And when I met him for the first time, man, in person, in front of a lot of people, he treated me like like a bro, like one of my boys that I went to high school with. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, wow, man, you get a bad rap. I'm thinking in my head, I didn't tell him this, but I'm like, you get a bad rap, right? Yeah. Like you are pretty genuine. He just came across, he was very open. He didn't, he stopped. He took the time to talk to me. He was asking, he's answering my questions, things like that. So, all right, so let's back up a sec to your point, to your question, and we'll hit on this for a while. I think a lot of times entrepreneurs like ourselves have this belief in our heads that we have to showcase to the world, to our family, friends, colleagues, that we have everything under control, and that we know our next 5 steps without blinking an eye. And
we're already doing great, right? Everything's good.
And the reality is, Dean, that I'm just as lost as you are. And you're just as lost as I am, right? Yeah. That's why we join these mastermind groups, so we can all wander around aimlessly together so we don't feel alone, right?
Yeah.
That's freaking it in plain English, right? So once we get over that belief or that understanding that we do not have to have all the answers, we don't. I think what gets us the respect is what we've accomplished. And I think people are afraid to put that out there on social media because they don't want to be judged, because they have to put on this act like everything is crushed, like they're crushing it all the time. That's why when I hear people, I'm like, oh, how you doing? How's your business doing? Amazing, man. And like anybody that says amazing and I'm crushing it, I'm like, no, you're not. like if you have to answer me like that, you're clearly hiding something, right?
Right.
I'm teasing. I'm being cheeky here, but you get what I'm saying. Like people will overcompensate to make sure that you know that
you're impressed,
doing really
right?
Well, yeah. Which is total bullshit. I think if the more I'll have more respect for you, like I have a tremendous amount of respect for you, Dean, because it takes a big person to walk away from the salaries and the notoriety and the respect that you get for playing on that field every Sunday, right? And for you to walk away from that, not because you were cut, not because you were a bad player, not because of being silly or anything like that. Like you walked away because you said, that's not what I want to do, right? And for you to come out and tell people that, you're going to get some people that think you're crazy. And then you're going to get people like me that say, wow, that took balls, right? Yeah. That took balls.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah. And I'm happy that you did it, because now look at what you're doing. So let me use you for an example, and I can tell some other stories too. But one of the ways that you really establish that credibility and authority online, or that authenticity, if you want to call it that, is showcasing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing, or you feel uncomfortable about it, just show them. Listen, I put together this group membership community a couple of months ago. And I saw the way it was going. I thought about it, and I basically took that entire offer, brought it to my backyard, got my shotgun, and blew its head off, because I said, this is not going to sustain my lifestyle. I'm sorry. I got to let it go, and I got to kill it. Right. Yeah. And I told people about that. And they were like, you're crazy. You just spent a month and a half putting it all together. You're just going to kill it? Yeah, because it's stupid. I don't want to do it. It's not making the impact that I want to make. Right. And then people might say, well, Henry, I thought you're the brand doctor. You're supposed to have all the answers. Every move you make is supposed to be the right one. No. Clearly not.
We're all figuring out. We're always making adjustments. And I think this is one of the things I said at a meetup last week. I said, look, if you are brand new or experienced, you have a brand, regardless of you think you do or don't. And your brand might be that you're just getting started and you're hungry. You're ready to kick ass. You're ready to hustle. And if it's like backed by some action, people are going to see that, right? And they're going to want to see the come up story. They want to see you win, right? They're going to cheer you on. And if you're going about things the right way, you're not faking it, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm doing deals. You're really not. Like if you're actually putting in the work and even just showing, like your brand might be just you showing the journey of putting in the work, the Rocky Balboa showing up, punching the bag, running up the stairs. Like, you know, he hadn't made it yet. He hadn't won the big fight, but he put in the work. People want to see that. They want to see what you're up to. So you can start to build a brand from basically the ground up.
Yeah.
And that is the brand at the time. And it may evolve and change and grow to the person you want to be, the person you might be thinking you are, which you should, right? You need to be thinking highly of yourself to start to push yourself in the right direction, but you might not be that person yet. So don't be pretending to be them yet.
That's where I don't believe in the fake it till you make it thing. I think do it for you. Like be your biggest competitor. Don't worry. Like always keep a pulse on competition. Of course, you don't put your head in the sand. That's not the way to run a business, right? I think it's irresponsible. That was the word I was looking for, to run a business with your head in the sand. But I mean, it's a rat race to compete with your competition. I would compete with who you were yesterday and then course correct along the line. But if you document that, people are going to be like, wow, this person's actually doing something. So I'll give you a quick example. I'm working with a client right now, business coach. She's a woman. She had multiple businesses that she exited. If you went to her LinkedIn, if you went to her social media, it would look like she just started yesterday. And that's where she came to me and said, Henry, I have 25 years worth of experience as a female entrepreneur. Yet when you see me online, it doesn't represent that.
Yeah.
And there's a big disconnect there. And there's a couple of reasons why she's not getting the results that she's looking for. One, she doesn't have the confidence in her offer because she doesn't have the confidence in her brand, right? In her deep subconscious, she thinks her brand sucks. So if you can point to me, Dean, anybody out there that believes their brand sucks, but is, quote, air quotes, crushing it out there and doing $1 million deals, please let me know who that person is, because I want to know what code they cracked. Because what's happening is subconsciously you're holding yourself back because you don't trust your brand. You don't trust yourself. So what I told her was this. So we do the brand strategy phase. We just exited the brand strategy phase. We're getting into the brand identity phase now. But what we uncovered in the brand strategy phase was she's an extremely rebellious woman. Okay. And she doesn't like to take the easy route. Yet when you see her on social media, she's very meek, and you can tell that she's playing it very safe. The problem is nobody got a chance to meet her like I met her when I took her through my brand strategy program. So everybody is seeing this version of her online that is not really her. So I said, who would you want to work with? She goes, well, people like me. Because in life, who do we meet? We meet ourselves. We meet ourselves. Think about the last 5 people you met. There's probably characteristics of them that are in you. And that's not a coincidence, my friend.
No,
that's the law of attraction. So I said, would someone like you connect and relate to somebody who portrays themselves as meek and playing it safe online? She goes, no, those people repel me. Well, I said, that's what you're doing with your social media right now. You're repelling all of the people that you really want to work with by playing it safe.
Yeah.
So I said, let's lean in to this rebellious side of you and let's own that as you and see what shows up now. And so what does she do? She's an executor and she's an implementer. And I love her for this because we'll have a call and then the next day or even that same day, she's implementing what I told her to do. And that's why this woman's going to win. Right. Mm-hmm. So she goes out there now and now she's very unapologetic with what she puts out. And I see the engagement going up because I'm like silently creeping on her on LinkedIn because I want to like, I'm on the sidelines. I'm watching her. Right. And I was like, see what happens. But one of the posts she made, to your point before, was one of the posts that she made a couple of weeks ago when we first started working together was, I hired a branding coach because I want to level up my professionalism. I want to level up my status. I want to level up who I am online and who I am in business. And I wouldn't be able to do that by myself. So she's telling people that she's going through this brand identity journey. And I was like, this is brilliant. People are going to be like, wow, she's a doer. She's doing it.
She's not just talking
about it. Yeah, she's not talking about it. She's doing it. And see, that's an open book. And I trust open books.
Yeah. And the one of the things, again, that I said last week that you're making me think about right now is whether you're the experienced person or you're just getting started, you're probably ahead of someone else, right? And people are going to want to see what you're doing. And if they see the steps you're taking, they're going to want to follow you along that journey. And then the same is true. If you're putting out good energy and putting in the work, someone who's further ahead of you might recognize that and want to bring you along, right? They want to bring you into their circle. They want to cheer you on. They want to support you. And so that's why brand and community is so freaking powerful, because once you get around other people like you, right? Who are abundantly thinking, who want to grow, who want to help, who want to add value and receive value. And you get more around more of those people, like think of the possibilities, like everybody's on the way up, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think
I'll give you a funny story about somebody that's on the way up or was on the way up. Right. So a couple years back, I bump into this guy. Some of you might know his name, Russell Brunson. And he's sitting here with this company called ClickFunnels, and it's in its infancy stages. And he has no idea what direction he wants to take this brand. And I'm noticing the content that's being published, and it's one day it's this color and that color, and the next day he's saying this and that, and nothing is consistent at all. And I just so happened, it was perfect timing. I just so happened needed his coaching at the time to get me to the next step in my entrepreneurial career. So I hop into his mastermind group, and the first hour we're talking to each other before I even went to Idaho to meet him in person was, wow, I really need your help, Henry. I have a designer that has me going in what he said. I have 6 different designers pointing this ClickFunnels brand in 6 different directions. And I need to wrangle this all in. I need consistency in this business if I want to take it to 100 million plus. And so I said, Russell, you're right there. You're at the finish line. You just need to focus. So what did he do? He's another one that just does it on the spot. Fired all the designers and said, Henry, you're coming in and you're going to make everything consistent. And that turned into a 2.5-year engagement. And within 6 months of that 2.5-year engagement, he hit $100 million in revenue with ClickFunnels.
Wow.
And so, I get to tell that story because I was one of the first design agencies to help ClickFunnels get and achieve that number.
That's incredible.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him if it wasn't for us meeting at the right time and him realizing that consistency, not just look and feel, but in in messaging, right? And it's not just the colors and the logo and the font and all of that.
Yeah.
It's the consistency, how well you show up, right?
Well, let's talk about that, because I
Sure.
think that's I don't know, you might say equally as important or more important, I'm not sure, but like once you understand the brand and who you're wanting to be, right?
Yeah.
And what audience you're looking to attract, how does consistency play into that? How can you how can you create an environment to be consistent?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What do you think is the biggest driver in a conversion of a sale? Not a trick question.
The emotion side of it?
Well, yeah. So trust.
Trust.
Right? Yeah. Trust. So if I showed up once on social media, pick a channel, right? And I didn't show up again for another 3 months. And then there's Dean Rogers, who's showing up every freaking day like clockwork. Hey guys, this is what I'm doing. Hey guys, this is what I'm doing. Hey guys, look what this just happened. Hey guys, who are they going to trust? Me or Dean Rogers? Mm-hmm. Right? So so consistency equals trust. Trust equals sales. It's that simple. It's that simple. So consistency is just showing up. Right. And you should never have a lack of people that are like, oh, well, I don't know what to post, or I don't know what kind of content I should be putting out there. That's just you saying you don't know your audience as well as you should.
Yeah.
The more you know your audience, the content ideas will be infinite. And so it's extremely important to really dial in and hone in on who it is that you're trying to serve. Because without that, you are a lost puppy dog. You are wandering aimlessly. So you're never going to get it unless you get that first. But that consistency piece is certainly going to be monumental in your brand building experience.
I love that, because one of the things that people will ask me, or I struggle with it too. Like, what do I post? I don't, for me, I'm in real estate. I'm flipping houses. I'm, doing deals, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm technically virtual. So I'm like in between these four walls. I'm not looking at these houses. What do I have to share? I don't have the cool, let me walk you through and show you the house before and after, all that kind of stuff, because I'm just not there. So I got nothing to post, but that's just not the reality. If you're just talking about the things you do, it could just be you and the selfie, right? You just doing a video like this, talking about what you're doing for the day or what happened, or even screenshots of stuff. Like, it's simple. It's actually simple. And if you just continue to share, people are going to want to see more. Right.
Exactly. And you're going to continue to share the things that are important to you. And there's going to be people out there that content is important to them. I like that. I don't want to just jump over that point you made before when you said there's always going to be somebody behind you. And I think that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, especially now, because social media and coaching and all of this stuff has exploded. I'm a Jersey guy, born and raised, still here. Don't plan on leaving anytime soon. And we always talk about exits, and we always talk about highways and things like that. And I truly believe that entrepreneurship is like driving on the New Jersey Turnpike. There's going to be people that are ahead of you on that highway. There's going to be people behind you, and people want to know what's coming up. What is there traffic? Is there a cop with their radar waiting for you to come flying by so they can rip you a ticket? What exit should I get off of to cut my journey down a few miles? Like, that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. There's always going to be somebody ahead of you. There's always going to be somebody behind you. And I think the worst mistake you can make is you trying to compare yourself to those people. Just focus on you. Make sure that you got your car dialed in, tuned up, and ready for the journey, because you've been in this game for a decade. This isn't a game you play for a couple of years and you get out. For some people it is, but they're anomalies, right? A lot of times people that get into the space that you're in, that's a that's a legacy move. That is a career shift. And it's the next chapter in somebody's entrepreneurial career. I'm opening up a retail cannabis dispensary in New Jersey in the next few months. And I got to tell you, a lot of the branding experience that I've built over the years and learned and is playing such a valuable role in this new business venture of mine, because I'm so far ahead from a branding perspective than a lot of the people in this industry. I'm noticing, because I'm starting to go to conferences. I'm starting to really get to know some people in the industry. And I'm like, wow, we are slight years ahead of our competition when it comes to branding. And so it just shows that, branding yourself is just important as branding your business, and the two should be done in tandem, not one or the other. And I know we're going to run out of time. That's a topic for a whole nother show. But if I were to pick one, Dean, it would be focus on branding yourself, because people will buy you before they buy your product or service.
Well, you look at, Alex Hermosi, he's probably one of the greatest examples recently of just like a total come up, coming out the gates real hot. Obviously, he put in a lot of work before he came onto the social media scene. But what's funny about that, the power of brand, is I had a buddy just tell me the other day, like, hey, I was at this mastermind and Alex Hermosi's there, and, all these other big hitters. The other big hitters are like billion-dollar companies, right? Alex Hermosi, his whole $100 million offer, it's because, that's basically where he got his company to, is 100 million, which is insanely incredible.
Big.
But there's other people that are, at the $1 billion mark that maybe no one knows about because they're just not branding, right? Yeah. And look at Alex Hermosi in his case, like he created an opportunity where now he's attracting more opportunities to bring him into his portfolio and create, more wins. And it's just like, because of branding, he's been able to do that.
So funny, quick little story with Alex. Me and Alex go way back, probably 7 years. Me and him were in Russell's mastermind group together. And I remember him doing selfie videos on like street corners, like, as buffed as he is, but like tank tops, pretty much the same person who he is today, just minus the net worth. Right. Yeah. And I watched him take each step in his career. And now he's at a point where he realizes the power of brand. And he put something on Twitter not too long ago that I bumped into, and I said, bro, you got to come on my podcast because we got to talk about this. He said something along the lines of like, if you want to make sales, create a great offer or build a funnel or some shit like that. And then he said, if you want to build a legacy, build the brand.
Build the brand.
Right. And I was like, oh, wow, that's another powerful guy. Here's another guy coming up in that space that's getting the power of brand. I don't know if you guys know, Kaylin Paulin and Brandon Paulin. They just did a big exit from the fitness industry. So they built up this brand called Lady Boss. And,
yeah. I know about them.
Yeah. So I met this couple again in Russell's mastermind group. And
you know what's funny about what just happened right there?
Huh?
I don't remember their names, but I know Lady Boss. So I said, oh yeah. Isn't that funny? Brand.
Well, that's brand. So funny story about Brandon. And Brandon, if you ever hear this, you could slap me next time you see me. I remember Brandon before it became Lady Boss. Brandon and his wife had this company called Tool Time, and it reminded me of like Tim Allen from remember that show, right?
Of course,
yeah. But her last name was Tool, and so they came up with this Tool brand. Anyway, he reached out to me. And he said, how much for a funnel? And at the time I was like $1,200. I was dirt cheap. And he goes, that's insane. That's what did he say? That's disrespectful or something like that. He said something along the lines. He was like annoyed that I was charging $1,200. He goes, I'll give you like $200 to do it. And I was like, yeah, no, that ain't going to work. So fast forward a few months later, we all go to Idaho. I had no idea he's in the mastermind group. Okay. So we meet each other in person, And he's like, he was a little standoffish. He's a little shy. We got done with that mastermind. And within a couple of days later, he voxed me on Voxer and said, what do I need to do to get you to help us rebrand this business? And I said, let's talk. And so he wound up paying me like 10 times what I originally quoted him just a few months earlier. Right. And the Lady Boss brand that you see today was branded by me.
Wow.
So, and then he goes and exits.
You didn't want to keep Tool Time?
Listen, much respect to them. I mean, you want to talk about hard workers like Alex and Layla, like those two put in the work too. So, you know, they just exited. I think Russell actually bought it from them.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
And they, you know, they're living their best life right now. I'm curious to see what happens because that brand was heavily revolved around her.
Of course.
Curious to see how Russell plays that off and plays the next chapter of it. So that'll be exciting to watch. But I'm noticing a lot of these folks from this internet marketing space realize the importance of brand. Sometimes it's too late. They don't get it and they go out of business or they just give up. But the guys that are making it and the gals that are making it, they're heavily investing in their brand. I mean, look at Jenna Kutcher, look at Marie Folio, look at some of these bigger names. They're putting a lot of effort and time into their brand because it's going to be their legacy long after they're gone.
Yeah. Wow. How powerful is that? Yeah, I think, and it's so funny based when you teed up that story, like you said the people's names who I haven't registered, right? I haven't met them yet. Haven't maybe watched enough content, but Lady Boss, yep, know that one. I know
Power brand.
But I see them on Russell Brunson doing, you know, the Platinum 2 Comma Club, all that kind of stuff. The 20,000, you know, the 8 Comma Club, all those kind of stuff. So, yeah, super powerful brand.
Powerful stuff. Well, I just want to say as we wrap up here, congratulations to you. I mean, I've seen when we first met, when you got pitched on my show, I looked at your website before I said yes to see if you get it. And you got it. And I said, look, here's a guy that really put together a solid brand identity system for himself. You know, and I'm really excited to see what you do with it in the next couple of years. I mean, you have a lot of opportunity. I see a ton of opportunity for you to leverage this brand and get into some bigger opportunities. So I wish you the best of luck. And again, thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. Let's leave the audience with some things that they can do. Just easy, simple, like couple step things. Whether they're just getting started or they're already established, they just don't have a brand. Like, what are some things that people can do to just get started? And obviously, if they're ready to take it serious, they're ready to like have a professional come in. That's what you do. You're the brand doctor.
Yes.
But like, what are some steps people can do?
Yeah. Quick and easy steps, Dean. One, identify a market that needs your help. Okay. That is willing and able to buy from you. Right. And get really clear on who that person is. You know, we took this agency from focusing in on any company that needs branding to now personal brands. We like to work with people like yourself and people that want to design a brand around themselves. Can we brand your business? Yes, but we like to build the personal brand out. So that's all we focus on. We focus on personality brands. So we have celebrity chefs. We've worked with Bon Jovi. We work with Russell, like I mentioned. So we that's what we've established. We've established a niche. So be focused on who it is that you truly want to serve. Get to know them better than they know themselves. If you can articulate their problems better than they can articulate them to you, they're going to whip out their credit card, whip out the checkbook and say, how much? Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is when it comes to social media, put yourself out there and show people what you have done. What have you accomplished? Why should people care to listen and watch you? That is one thing that so many people forget. They put out this nonsense, but they don't realize that, like, if people don't have a strong understanding of why someone should consume your content, they're not And then the other thing is, and I'll borrow this from Alex because I think this is something that is top of mind that has really helped me, is focus on how I content versus how to content. And I think that's extremely powerful. And that was a big mindset shift for me, because my whole time coming up in the branding space was, you got to focus on the customer. It's not about you. It's about them. They have to be and I get all of that for sure. But if you haven't established any authority, then you need to talk about what you're doing, because people are attracted to that. People want to know what you've accomplished. Alex said this the other day. People are trying to do like Gary V content without achieving the success of Gary V.
Right.
And that's where they're like, why isn't this working? So when you focus on, in other words, start doing shit, right? Start doing shit and make progress, make mistakes, document them, show them, and you'll watch that community build organically, and you'll thank me later, because that's what people want. People are starving for the truth these days. There's an abundance of content. What there's a lack of is genuineness. So just go out there and tell us what you're doing, what you haven't done yet. And we'll respect that. We'll respect that. And that will build trust, that will build confidence, and that will close more sales for you in the future.
Absolutely. I love it, man. Well, thanks so much for adding value. Love talking about brands. So how can people find you, Henry?
Yes. So if you just Google the Brand Doctor, I'll be there in 2 seconds.
There you are. You took care of that problem, right?
Yeah. But if you want to go to my website, it's Unique Designs with a Z at the end, not an S.net. And you'll see my website there, my podcast, and all of the work that we've done. And there's a masterclass there if you want to check it out. But yeah, I really appreciate you having me on, and good luck to you, man. I'm rooting for you.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you. Look forward to talking more about brand with you. And until next time, guys, peace.